Hey YouTube, what is going on out there, guys? I know it's been a minute. We had a couple days there that I just didn't really feel like recording or anything. Going through a little mental struggle there. We'll get into all that. How's it going? I know this part 2 was supposed to come out about a day after part 1, but really ran into some struggles there, and just really wasn't feeling up to it. So we dropped this load off in Hayden, Idaho. We hopped just across the border to Boardman, Oregon, somewhere around there. Picked up our next load, and we took that back to Denver. Sat for a day or so, and picked up our new beer load. And I'm actually heading to Portland, Oregon now to drop that off. So I'm not going to title this video like I normally would. Normally I'd put like a to and from destination and then bam, that would be the whole video. This one's going to be a bit different. I took all the video footage from the past 3 or 4, maybe 5 days, and I mashed it all up into one video. Mostly it's going to be just mountains and or major cities. I'm not too sure now what exactly I'm going to keep in. It just depends on how much audio I have to go through with this. So if you remember, my power inverter went out and I didn't have refrigerator, microwave, and all that. And it was starting to get to me mentally. You know, I was getting kind of tired of not being able to heat up my food or anything like that, having to eat cold soups or go out to eat and all that other BS, you know, wasting money. And the next day after I dropped this load off, I ended up in Payette, Idaho. We have a yard there. And was able to get the power inverter fixed, which was awesome. I met a dude there that actually had his cat in his truck with him, and it was cool. He had a long-haired tabby on a harness, just walking him around. It was pretty funny. But the maintenance guy was like, man, if I had to do any work inside that truck, I would have refused. It was bad. And I actually thought about bringing one of my cats out on this trip instead of the dog one time, just to see how they would do on it. And yeah, that kind of turned me away from it. I'm like, nah, I don't want to be dealing with all that, because you know, cat litter could get a little smelly, and then you got to carry the cat litter itself, the pan, all that stuff. No, I'm not doing it. So that same day, before I actually got to our yard, I went to fill up my vape, and there's a plug on the top of it, and it's normally a waterproof vape, but I don't have that plug that goes on the top. I just didn't install a new one or buy a new one. And I was pouring the juice in it, and the top of my vape juice bottle came off and completely spilled over my lab, all over the vape, everything. So I shut down, I cleaned everything up, cleaned myself up, and wiped it all off, and it was good. Well, about 4 or 5 hours later, I hit the vape, go to hit it again, and it doesn't come on. And I'm checking the batteries, and there's juice in the battery compartment. I'm like, well, how the hell? You know, I'd forgot about it at this point. I was like, well, how the hell would juice get into the battery compartment? I wasn't getting it. So I dried everything off, I've changed the batteries, all that still wouldn't power up. So I was like, you know what? That's it. You know, I had told my wife I think it was the day prior to this, that New Year's I'm gonna quit vaping. I'm gonna quit smoking at all, because you know, 5 years ago my dad passed away. 5 or 6 years. I try not to think about it. And I stopped smoking cigarettes that day. And I was like, you know what? I'm cutting cold turkey. I'm gonna go to vaping, and then eventually I'm gonna get myself off of that. Well, jump 5 or 6 years later, I'm still vaping, and I was like, you know what? New Year's I'm gonna quit altogether. Well, wouldn't you know it? A day after I said that, my fucking vape breaks. And I'm like, well, shit. I guess life's deciding that aspect for me, and I'm just gonna quit now. Well, it's not that easy. You know, they say you gotta want to quit in order to quit. Well, man, I'll tell you what, I want to. Like, I'm full on ready to quit, but it is so fucking hard. Like, the first day, like when I went to Payette, all that stuff was going on. The vape broke, the shipper was taking forever. I had like 10 minutes to spare by the time I actually got shut down. So yeah, I had that stress going on. So I was like, you know, I need something to itch this crave. So I went over to the dollar store, got a Black and Mild, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna smoke this one Black and Mild, and that's gonna be it. That wasn't it. I ended up, through the following couple days of trying to quit, I ended up going through 2 5-packs and 4 individual Black and Milds in the matter of like 3 or 4 days. It was fucking nuts. And like the whole time I was like, why? Like, why can I just not fucking smoke. Like, I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. I don't want to smoke, but then that craving will be there, and it's like, fuck, man, I need to edge this, you know, especially when you get shut down for the night. You're like, victory smoke, or after you eat, or when you wake up. It's like, it's nuts, like the habit. But even more than that, I noticed myself getting real irritated. You know, it probably has something to do with the nicotine. That would make sense. And it was like, I knew that, but I couldn't control it. And that was the shittiest fucking part ever. Like, complete defeat, you know, like breaking down, going in, buying this fucker, smoking it, and then afterwards you're like, fuck, why did I do that, you know? So I went through those couple days, and I got back to Denver, and still doing the same thing, hitting the black and mild here and there. Smoke like a quarter of it, put it out, smoke another quarter of it, this, that, and the other, the routine, you know. And I kept telling myself, I can't fucking go down this path again. I can't go back to smoking, like actual tobacco and cigarettes, you know. I cannot do it. And I started losing my voice because the thick black and mild and all this, and it was just nuts. I was just almost like in a depression, man. It was bullshit. And got my next load, and I'm heading back, and I stopped at a Walmart, and I started looking up like different tobacco alternatives and whatnot, just something that I could smoke that wasn't going out and buying a whole new vape and investing that money and then feeling tied to it, you know, and then hitting it all the time. Because that's why I wanted to stop vaping, man. I would just hit it all the time, and then I would get shortness of breath, and it was nuts, you know. And it's like, I could tell, you know, it's definitely not as fucking healthy as just completely quitting. So I was like, I was done. I'm not gonna buy a whole nother vape. So I went to the store, and I had any like cloves, or I was looking up, and I guess they have green tea cigarettes out now that has no tobacco, no nicotine or anything. It's just something to smoke. But unfortunately, they didn't have any of that. So she was like, well, what about, was it natives or something like that? And it's just straight tobacco and water. There's no like additives or anything like that. I was like, all right, let me try that. So I started smoking those, and I mean, the first one I hit, I packed the pack, broke the seal, took a cigarette out, and I was like, no, this is definitely not a good route. Like, this is the opposite way of where I want to be going right now. And I think I smoked 2 out of that pack, and I saw a vape store across the street, and broke down. I went over there, I bought a new vape, and so now I'm back vaping. And hopefully, when the plan is now that when I get stopped or when I go on to home time, the next juices that I buy is going to be 0 nicotine level, and then hopefully that'll make it easier to quit smoking, because then it won't be kicking the nicotine and the habit. It'll just be kicking the habit at that time. So that's the end goal on that. Now everything feels right in the world. I know that's stupid. That's a stupid thing to fucking say. You know, I didn't accomplish anything. I'm just back vaping, but I got the power inverter fixed. The refrigerator's back up and running. I got my microwave. You know, all the power and everything in the truck is going good. I'm not stressing about fucking smoking anymore. I don't have that whole like anger or irritability, irritable nature, whatever the hell you want to say, anymore. You know, I'm all cool, calm, and collective. So that's pretty decent. I went and bought some incense and to get that smell out of here. So I've been burning the incense, lighting the candles whenever I stop. Now it's just trucking as usual. So we ended up going over Cabbage Pass today, which is, I think it was like 6 miles of a 6% downgrade. And I've gone up it, and man, it takes forever to come up it, man. You go like 25, 15 miles an hour the whole way. Coming down it, it's sketchy because you're right on the side of a cliff face. But I mean, if you just take your time, you know, you manage your speed well, you don't even have to hit your brakes at all going down. Just leave the Jake on 3. But I think I was going about 45, and I've got about 66,000 pounds right now that I'm carrying. And it wasn't bad. I kicked it off like maybe a mile left of the hill, and did just fine. It wasn't no big deal. I don't see what everyone's like big hush-pushes about it. Now the winter time, that might be a different story. I've only seen it once in the winter, and it was like late March. It really wasn't that bad. We got held up for I think 2 hours while they cleared the snow off of it, but they cleared the snow off of it. We went down. It was no issue. There was not any ice or anything like that. Well, I think this video is long enough as it is. I'm not going to drag it out anymore. I'm pretty sure most of you guys aren't even here at this point. But I mean, if you're still here, if you could go ahead and like and subscribe, hit that bell. It all really helps, guys. And thank you guys from YouTube, family, friends, everybody. I appreciate all the support. It really helps. And we'll see you in our next trip, wherever that's going to be going. All right, bye.